Alright, now that we've wrapped up the Superman, Batman, Public Enemies figures, today's Toy Spot we're going to be looking at the Collect and Connect figure of that wave. We're going to be looking at Brimstone. Brimstone is a very impressive figure, and very large as well. It really, to me, was the selling reason, or the selling point as to why I wanted to get this set. There were figures to it that, again, I really thought were going to be exclusives, like the Silver Banshee, the Icicle. Those were figures I definitely wanted to pick up, but the fact that the Collect and Connect figure was Brimstone, again, a figure I very unlikely we would ever get as a DC Universe Collect and Connect figure, was all the reason of why I wanted to pick up this set. As large as he is, yes, and as I've mentioned before, Brimstone does share the majority of the body of Kilowog here, and what we'll do is move him aside. We'll get the comparison in first. We'll bring in... Oh, there he is. We'll bring in Kilowog. As you can see, yeah, he sports the exact same body. The only real difference is the retooled hand here, that of course is sporting the Green Lantern ring. As well, even though it's the exact same body, Kilowog will appear a little bit taller, because while as tall as Brimstone is here, technically his head is the neck, give or take, to Kilowog. Now granted, Kilowog, if you were to take the head off, if you remember the review of it, he's just got a little peg hole. But Brimstone actually doesn't really have a head as much as he has just a molded stump that's been sculpted to be his head. So for that reason, yes, Kilowog is a little bit taller, but it is the exact same body. It is the exact same. And actually, if you remember also my reviews when I was putting Brimstone together, the one thing I commented on was the fact that his one leg, you'll notice his one leg sits pretty straight, but the one leg doesn't want to come in as much as this leg here. And I mentioned that it seemed a little funny because I thought that was the exact same problem with Kilowog. Oh, look at that, eh? Yeah, somebody's got a good memory. Look, straight leg on the one side, and yes, the other leg didn't want to go in as much as the other. Tried to kind of move it, but every time I've done it with the Kilowog here, the leg has been prone to pop out. So I'm sure it's going to be the exact same issue, but I did find it funny that it's the exact same leg, and it's the same issue that I had with Kilowog here. I won't do a review of Kilowog, obviously I've already done a review of him, so I will move him out of the way. And let's get a look again at Brimstone. The one other thing that I'm still a bit confused by is the translucent arms that they've given him. I could understand it if they had a switch. I'll give it a turnaround here. If they had a switch or something on him that these arms could light up. And I know DC Universe figures don't really have a gimmick. Certainly that's a good thing they don't have a gimmick, but the fact that the arms are as translucent as they are kind of leads me to think that something should have been there, because if not, they certainly could have been the same paint as the legs. And for that reason, it looks a little different. The arms look a little different than the rest of the body. Again, the head sculpt is really, really nice, despite the fact that you can't really do too much with the head. Here, I'll pan in here so you guys can actually see it. Can't do too much with the head. It's just been sculpted into the upper torso area here. It would have been nice if it would have moved, but I think had they done that, there wouldn't have been as good of a transition from the neck to the head. It would have actually just looked like a neck and then a separate piece on the top. It probably would have taken away from the figure, so I can understand maybe why they would have done it the way they had. But a really nice figure. Really, really nice. pan back here. In the way of his articulation, being that he is basically Kilowog, or Kilowog was the same mold as this guy. He's going to have the same articulation. No articulation in the head, but he does have the ball jointed shoulders. You can rotate at the bicep as well. There you go, a little loose, a little tight there. You can bend the elbow and rotate the hand. You can crunch at the mid-torso. You can rotate the waist. You can move the legs in and out, back and forth. Nothing in the thigh, but you can bend at the knee, and you can bend at the foot with a mild swivel in the ankle. And whether that was intentional or just really the way that they built the figure, it does look, however, though, that he has a swivel in the ankle. This is one of those figures that I've always really been a fan of Brimstone, and I don't know if all of it is because of Justice League Unlimited. Brimstone does appear in Initiation, which featured the first appearance of Green Arrow. I was going to say Green Lantern, but he was really one of the reasons why I really got into this character. He is very imposing, and it kind of really goes back to my opinion of the Public Enemy's line as a whole. I know they had to do a Build-A-Figure, but for what airtime Brimstone has, Brimstone doesn't even fight really in the animated movie. He kind of just surfaces in the background. I think he pops up from the tree line along with Giganta, but that's as much as that's as far as it really goes. I think the other possible Build-A-Figure that they could have done to be a little more consistent with the movie would have been the composite Superman-Batman robot, which we see in the end of the movie. That would have probably been the smarter choice to go with for a collect and connect figure. The only downside, though, is it would probably mean we would have never gotten this guy. So this is the one time where I would have said, I'm very glad that they just randomly picked this guy, because he is an awesome collect and connect figure. For that reason, I probably would give Brimstone here, I'd give him as a collect and connect figure, I'd give him an 8. He also does kind of remind me of Bane from the Batman cartoon, and just the red and the black and everything works really, really well in this figure. So again, I would give him an 8. All right, so we'll move him to the back here, get him to hopefully stand. And just overall opinions of this wave, it's a bit of a mixed bag. I think really the strong characters in the wave, I'll bring them in here. Certainly Batman was a strong character in this wave. The head sculpt, really not the best, but the fact that it's different from the other DC Universe Batmans that have been released, certainly the same mold used over and over and over again, this is a welcome change for a Batman, and for that reason, I really, really like him. A little too cartoony, yes. Will he fit in with your other DC Universe figures? Maybe not, but it's a nice welcome change. The Silver Banshee definitely was a figure worth picking up in this set. Yes, it's not as good as maybe a DC Universe Silver Banshee, but the fact that she's been included in this wave, I'm almost willing to bet she's never going to be released in a DC Universe wave. For that reason, I would say it's worth picking up Silver Banshee. It's not as good as it could have been, but it is a Silver Banshee figure nonetheless, and for that reason I would say it's worth picking her up. The real star of this set, at least in my opinion, is this guy right here, the Icicle. Again, an exclusive figure, very similar to Silver Banshee. Probably never going to see this guy ever again, and we're never going to see him in a DC Universe figure. So I would say if you really want to get an Icicle figure, and you really want to get a really different figure, this is the guy you want to get. And really, this guy, I think, is the star of this set. But these are the 4 figures you would probably want to consider getting. The Black Lightning is a good figure. But the Superman, I think, a lot of disappointment, at least for me. And the Major Force to me is just a figure you would buy just to get this guy built. But overall, it's not the best wave. But I would say because it's like these figures here, it's a wave you'd want to pick up, especially to get the Brimstone built. Or you could, of course, get him on his own if you were to find him at your local toy stores or your toy conventions, or, of course, eBay. But that wraps up my reviews of the Superman Batman Public Enemies line. And today we were looking at not only the Collect and Connect Brimstone, which is an awesome figure, but we're also just looking at the wave as a whole. So I hope you guys have enjoyed my reviews. There are many more toy spots and other spots to come. Please rate, please comment, and also please subscribe. And I'll see you guys for the next spot. See you guys next time.